Kaboom. Here we are.
Here we are.
Oh, DJ's not going to be here tonight. But Thaddeus is here. And hello. Wednesday, April 6th?
7th.
For you.
Just.
And it's another episode of Cameron Flask. The episode that was supposed to happen last Tuesday, but some life things got in the way. People had to get on airplanes and go to other parts of the planet, and that's life. So here we are with our post-NAB episode. Caleb and Ben, it's nice to see you again, even though we were hanging out as not that long ago, about a week ago.
Yeah.
That's good.
In person,
Crazy.
which was amazing.
What's
it
going
was
on?
so
Good to see you,
was
Brandon.
so good to see you.
Yeah, and we met Brandon, which was great.
100%. It was great.
Had an espresso over at the Nanlux Nangwang booth, and I don't know what you're gonna do. And
sponsorship dropped.
What?
And sponsorship dropped.
No, that's the company. But it's like so many and I found out, I think it's true that the name of the company comes from somebody who has, I think, as part of their name, the Nan part. Cool. David, good to see you. And we're all doing fine now, and we're back home and ready to talk about the show. Ben, are you having anything to drink tonight? This morning? Your morning?
Yes.
What are you having, sir?
Yes.
Tell me what you're having.
Well, I feel like this was not that we had a very heavy week last week. For an NAB, this year was pretty subdued. I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was great. It was wonderful. I'm not complaining at all. But we didn't go mad. But the drink that for me stuck in the mind from this trip.
Oh, it's so cute. Yes. I wish I had the photo.
There we go. Come on. The little Underberg bottles.
Nice.
So these, I haven't eaten a heavy meal or anything, but I thought just for nostalgia, I bought a pack of 10 of these at the weekend.
Nice.
And did it. So I'm gonna have them in a dainty little crusty glass that I must have bought for a prop for something as well. Just
only pinky, pinky out only. Now you've got Yeah, there we go. Okay, that's better. Or you can pinky out only when you drink it. Tommy, good to see you. All right,
Tommy.
All right. You're having non-leaded today, right, Caleb?
Yes, I have electrolytes in my water bottle, so I'm ready to rock and roll. Actually, they're these. Not a sponsor.
Are you sure? Can you check your mic?
A ton at the show.
You sound a little distant.
They were amazing.
They were great.
Distant.
Oh, now it's better. I don't know.
Lifesaver.
Yeah, they were amazing. They were really good.
We'll shake it up, especially in a water bottle. Just throw it in there. It was great.
Perfect. A mocktail, but with all the benefits of what that gives you. And
salts and electrolytes and stuff.
I also have been light on the sauce, but I'm going to have a little nip of Abunak today. But I've been going easy. At the end of the trip, I unfortunately got like the biannual sinus infection and then had to fly. So, I told you. Right at the end, when the weather gets different and everything, and then when I flew back, it just hit me because of the plane ride, and then Thursday and Friday were rough.
The night before, right? Your back was kind of rough the day before.
Yeah. That was from the workshop stuff. What were you gonna say,
Sure.
Ben?
I was just gonna say that's not the worst infection that you can come back from Vegas with. I think you've done all right there.
Oh yeah, I get it once or twice a year. And I understand what kind of infection you might be referring to, and I've never gotten one of those, thank goodness, because I don't partake. I don't know what you're talking about, but it's weird. But no, I'm just kidding.
NAB play, because all I was talking about. That.
Can we do a little
every time you go NAB? Yeah, let's drink.
Yeah, let's do it. Cheers! Come on,
yes.
Cheers, and to you,
cheers,
and to everybody else. And this is an apology drink from me to onocoffee. We'll talk about that in a second. Oh, wow. I haven't had some of that in a while. I will say, and the gentleman can attest to this, that the last day of the full day workshops, which was the Saturday, we went to a little event at a Mexican place, and somehow I got scotch there. It wasn't great. It was sort of okay-ish, in the doer's realm, but I did have a few that night. And at a certain point, Caleb reminded me that my decibel level may have increased markedly, and said, you might want to look around because you're being, and I was a little loud that night. But that was the only time I really drank on the. How long did we last at the?
To be expected.
Yeah. How long did we last at the B&H thing? We lasted for about 40 minutes. We were just done. We did because we did Benihana that night.
Behind you.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
Hilariously, I was on my way out and pulled up my phone to text you guys saying like it's just too loud. I'm too old for this.
It was way too loud.
Then, you guys were like, "We're getting a car." So.
Do you know every year that I've been and I've gone to that party, and it's always the thing that you just, it's kind of all elevated. Everyone's like, right, you've got to go to that party because it's the one you get in the lift. You go out, it's all huge. It's on the roof. There's the swimming pools. It's like the Vegas in the Hangover sort of parties. And then you get there, and 10 minutes in, you go, no, this isn't me.
No.
It was.
Nor most people there. It's really unfortunate because I feel like most people are just complaining about the noise, and we're all outside because that's the quietest spot, and it's still deafening, and then we're all just yelling at each other, talking about how loud it is.
Yep.
So,
and then the wind started picking up like crazy. Ben and I were outside, and we were just like, we're out. It was really fun in the old days, and the first time AJA, because they would do a different venue every year, and the first time they did it at Marquee, it was magical because you walked out there and you had never seen that place, and everybody was just hanging out, and it was probably about a third of the people as well, because now it's just thousands of people, it seems like, and once you've been there 8 times, it's just kind of lost the allure. It'd be good if they changed the venue. Not that I would necessarily go, but it would be good if they changed the venue. And if it's all indoors, I'm out. That's a no-go for me.
I'm tempted just to just send an invite to everyone and just do like, hey, gonna have dinner here.
Yeah.
Or at this food truck. You want to go hang out? Or something like one evening, even though the evenings seem to fill up. But this year, anyway, not to go on about that.
But I agree. Yep.
And
we sound like a night out in downtown. That's what we should do one year. We need to go to downtown and have a night out on Fremont Street because that's just much more fun down there.
Caleb's like, nope,
I don't like that place.
Not happening.
No, the zip line, and the neon music.
No, you're all about that zip line.
And the Elvises, and it's great. And the
Elvises, plurals.
Elvises everywhere. Yeah, could never have enough Elvises.
Well, we got to get back to the comments here.
Anyway.
I would say, Danny's coming in with in the 80s NAB alternated between Dallas and Chicago.
Whoa.
I don't know if I want early April in Chicago. Yeah, that would be easy for you. All right, let's go back to Ono. First of all, there's an apologies to us and the rest for not being able to connect. You do not have to apologize. So what happened with the meetup was it was originally supposed to be between Central and South Hall. They no longer use South Hall, so they no longer use that space between Central and South Hall for anything. And so the only place that there are really food trucks besides a couple indoors are the ones in the front of the building. And when we kind of realized that, it was It was
the morning of. It was like 10 a.m. and we're like, oh, wait.
Yeah.
Do you know what it was?
What?
Caleb and I were standing by the window, and Caleb's looking out onto that area where all the OB trucks used to be. And there's a guy who's got some little truck that he's supposed to be collecting garbage or something on. And he's wheeling the thing. He's like going around the things on 2 wheels.
Yeah, he's like 2-wheeling.
And that was the point. So we're talking about this, and then we go, there's nothing out there. Was this not where we were having the... Oh, shit.
You look in the distance sometimes there, and it kind of looks like the desert. And when it's empty, it could be like Sicario or something like that. But there's nobody out there.
It is like that, yeah.
So sort of last minute on a couple of social channels, I just pushed out, we'll meet over by the B&H and Sony area because it's very easy to find that. But I'm sorry, Ono, that we didn't get to connect, and we'll have to be a little more specific next time. Yeah. It was a weird one those last couple of days anyway. Just there was a lot of things going on, and I apologize. But we did get to see Brandon and a couple of other people, and we'll come up with a better system next time, whereby if we need to communicate, we can set something up that's a little more, like I'll say, I'm going to go ahead and tweet out if we're going to change the location or something like that. So sorry about that. Lots of good swag there. You get t-shirts and hats and tired feet, and hopefully you're hydrating. Again, Caleb's magic drink helped us tremendously.
Truly magic.
Could not have done the workshops without both of you, and it was great to be teaching again, and it was fun to get that done before the show started, because it's a lot more relaxing at the show when we don't have to deal with that.
They were fun. I enjoyed those.
Yeah, that's good. So, yes. So what should we do? We can have a chat. Anybody who was here, like Brandon, Tommy, anybody else on here, Ono, who was at the show, we definitely want to hear from you in terms of your favorite things that you saw. And I think we're going to kind of just do a little bit of a summary. Caleb's obviously already posted a video about some of the things that he saw and liked at the show. So if you haven't seen that, check out the channel. You know what it is, but DSLR Video Shooter, and kind of a nice recap of some of the stuff there. And I'm still trying to figure out what Gerald was doing with that little... I know he's playing off with the whole you're holding the lav up to your mouth thing that everybody makes fun of now, but that was pretty funny. And,
I noticed that we ended up in his video. Well, you were actually interviewed, but I noticed that we were all mid-conversation. He ended up just crashing into whoever we were talking to, Ted, I think.
You just blasted into the middle of, like, Ted.
Yeah, we haven't seen Ted in like a year.
Like, I don't know what to go now. I'm just like shuffling backwards out of the way. I don't want to be in this anymore.
Yeah. That's good. So what should we start with? I mean, do we want to do categories, or we just want to start blurting out like one after the other things that we liked? We haven't really discussed that, but I'm happy to go. I'll let maybe Caleb, you take the lead and tell us what to do. The brain is empty. It needs to be directed in some direction.
Yeah, I didn't get to North at all, which I was bummed about.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have gotten a good North Hall run. So next year I'm going to try to... I don't know what I'm going to do, but I feel like I just not enough time on the show floor. So next year I'm going to try to figure that out. But lenses, just so many lens options this year.
Yep.
And I feel like that's been a thing for years now. Like each year it's like there's more and more. But it's all out of control now. I mean, there were like, 2-3 anamorphics announced? Or 4 maybe. If you include Atlas. Just so many great things. So the big ones for me are going to be those Nisi primes, which I really want now. They're about 1,000 a pop. They're absolutely tiny, and they're T19. So really fast.
Super fast,
They're all, and this is what's crazy, is they're all the exact same weight, which is nuts. Identical weight across the whole line. So you can swap on a gimbal without any issues as I lose frames.
Lots of frames.
What else? The Laowa Ranger lenses.
Yep.
Essentially Fujinon full frame. So hopefully I can get my hands on those and compare and test those, because that could be an amazing option. And then these guys, they sent me home with the Mophage Poco.
Yep.
That's
the
the adapter.
Yeah,
this gaudy
and that's
purple,
a PL to E.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they make several different versions. But let's see if I can get that in the shot.
Let me.
It's got stops on it
for the ND.
So, let's see. Yeah, for the ND, it actually has hard stops and the readout, and then those are of course interchangeable. So it comes, you can get a streak, you can get a black or white mist filter, clear, and some other stuff. So super, super nice, well made. They're gonna work on an anamorphic one too that you can put in the back. So yeah, that was kind of nice. Yeah, a lot of the different lenses, a lot of interesting rigging solutions. I don't know where you guys want to kind of go from there. Tons of production monitors. We looked at OC. That was really awesome.
That OC 15 is seriously on my purchasey list.
Beautiful looking panel. I mean, it's hard.
13 that isn't available yet. That's what was really gorgeous.
The other thing that I don't know if you noticed, I went and looked at the 15 again when we got home, and there was a lot of people giving us, we were asking a lot of questions, and the information we got at the time was that wasn't a 10-bit display, the 15, but it is.
A true 10-bit.
Nice.
So it's not an 8+2. It's a 10.
So on the website, it says it's 10-bit. The guy when we were talking to at the time said it wasn't, but it's such a good looking, well built piece of kit, and the image was great off it.
I'm just reading Brandon's comment, and it's just making me think of something. All I need to do is have Caleb read it, but we just have to keep it. That's the end of the conversation. Thanks, Brandon. I feel like I'm in nursery school again. So yeah, monitor wise, I mean, look, there's only one Flanders, and we know that they're going to be consistent panel to panel, and that's kind of what they do as a company. So I'm wondering how consistent the OC ones are. When you talk to companies that are in the monitor business besides a company like Flanders or Sony or Canon, they will tell you that it's a very hard space to be in, because the people that use monitors, not for sort of day in, day out production, but they're using it especially for post-production or in a DIT type of situation, they are really looking for accuracy. And the people who really use them know what they're looking for. And so I think that's the challenge that Atomos had with the Neons to a degree. I think that's a challenge that Small HD has, based on conversations I've had, and they're making some really nice monitors, but you can see that they can't be competitive the way they used to be price-wise when they want to compete in the panel space where they have to be that accurate. That's my take on it, but yeah.
I still think they're different things.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
I've never,
different purposes.
Fussed much about it. Like at a time, Small HD was very appealing because of the tools.
Yes.
Now all these other companies have everything they need, and they're just straight up copying, the companies there,
UI and stuff.
But accurate panel, accurate to what? Because it's all a crapshoot, right? So I need to have at least one thing, and it's what I edit on that really counts. But on set, I'm less picky about that kind of stuff. If I know my workflow and my LUTs and my monitor, totally. In a perfect world, Flanders all day long and all this. But
but you're going to drop $4,000 to $5,000 for a 16-inch monitor if you go Flanders, and it's going to be great, and it's going to be calibrated, and if you're going to grade off of it, but I mean, that's one of the reasons that I think Axoon is doing what they're doing with iOS, devices, because Apple's panels tend to be very accurate. So they're using iPhones and iPads for their system, which I think is kind of brilliant. I just feel that if you're going to go that route, that you should dedicate a device to it. So I'm kind of waiting until they get an iPad mini solution together, because that to me is sort of the perfect kind of balance between the two. It's not my phone that I'm using for phone calls and business and everything else. I don't have to buy another phone, and it's kind of the perfect size. And I don't consume as much content on an iPad mini. I use it, but I don't use it like my phone every day. So I could dedicate that to sort of a production device for things like that. So yeah, monitors are definitely coming a long way, and they're becoming a lot more affordable. I saw something at Lilliput that I'm interested in for this sort of, teleprompter setup. They actually have a 15.6 inch that has all of the ports coming out from the bottom, but not this way. They come out this way. So when it's laying down, they're coming out, it's like laying down and they come out from the back. So they're not getting in the way of everything. And they have size? All of it's a 15.6, which should be pretty good for a teleprompter. And the nice thing about it is it has all of the flips built into it. So it has horizontal, vertical, and horizontal, vertical flips. So you can kind of get rid of the decimator. And under $500 for a 1500 nit. So you could, that's also the trick, because you're going to lose light with the teleprompter. So you have to make sure your display is bright enough. So I'm going to maybe check that out. I wouldn't necessarily use it as my production monitor, but I would use it for sure for teleprompter purposes. But that's a kind of interesting space, and I guess we'll see where that goes. And then the manufacturer of 32-inch panels, which is a Japanese company, apparently they supply the panels to people like Flanders and to Small HD and people like that. That company went completely bankrupt like a week or two before NAB. So nobody can get 32-inch panels from them anymore. They're not a monitor manufacturer. They make panels. So that's screwing all of these monitor manufacturers, because they're the only ones that make that panel. It's not like, oh, we'll just go to the other supplier that we use. They're the one, and now they're gone. So it's crazy how stuff like that can happen. Yeah. Apparently there's a factory that makes nets in the country, in Europe as well. And it's like they dedicate like a day or a week a year just to make single and double nets for this industry. And so if they go out of business, bye nets. I don't see how that's so hard, but I guess they're the ones that make them. I don't know. I have to dig a little deeper into that one.
Thanks for sharing, by the way, Brandon. It's an issue. I found your review, so I'm gonna have to watch that later. And I subscribe and bell notifications. So he's talking about
put the link in the chat.
Monitor.
Yeah. How much does that go for, Brandon?
Can I?
I don't know.
Let's find out. Dropping the link now.
I don't know if it'll work. Through. Nope. Yes. Nope. That was Brandon. Lots of claps. Okay, we'll figure it out. Okay. What size is it?
27, 4K.
Oh, it's a good size. Okay. Cool. How about you, Ben? Anything that you saw in particular, just to start things with you, that you really liked?
Well, I watched Caleb's video, and I agree with pretty much all of those things, because you showed me most of them on the show floor, which were the things that I kind of you pointed in my direction. So the one lens that you didn't mention was the Suri, whatever it's pronounced, the Saturn, the little mini 35mm anamorphic lens, which I'm really tempted by because it's so small. It doesn't have stupid blue flares with the neutral flare option, so they do it in two. So that I'm still umming and ahhing about, but very tempted by. What else? The monitor as well, I really liked. OWC, same as you, we spent quite a lot of time with OWC. You've got an awful lot of great solutions, but particularly that little dock that sits underneath the Mac Minis and the Mac Studio, which you can put the M2 drives in, but you can also stick a SATA drive in, like a 3.5-inch SATA drive. So you're up to whatever they do, those to now 20, 30 terabytes. So there's a very flexible storage, plus giving you an extra 4 Thunderbolt ports. So those were good. Resolve, what are we up to? 18.5. Lots of amazing stuff in that. That piece of software just gets better and better and better. more and more people switching over to it for very good reason. That text edit thing, I know there's other things that do this, but I tried it this week. So if you shot an interview, you just right click on that within your media bin and go transcribe. So it goes through it, transcribes it really quickly. And then you can just highlight a line of text, drag that text onto your timeline, and it just puts that little selection from that clip in. So to do like a text-based edit, you're obviously going to need to go and refine it. But for those long interviews when you're just looking for sound bites, trying to piece together a story, I find that much easier to do with text than I do with a long interview and you're trying to pitch things together. So, it's not infallible, but it's really, really good. And there's a whole load of other new stuff that's come in. So that was my one little foray into Northall. And very good. So that's something I'm using already. DJI with the new drones. See the Mavic 3 Pro Cine, which actually got released yesterday, so it wasn't an NAB thing, but that's incredible. So 3 lenses on that. I took a 24mm equivalent and then a 70 and then like 160 something, but that's 70mm lens. To getting interesting stuff with a 24mm lens with a drone, you need to get really close to things to get nice parallax. But a 70mm, it's such an enormous difference to the look on things. And for a drone of that size, it's phenomenal, because obviously they do the bigger ones that have got the interchangeable lenses, but that you're limited as to the times and places you can use those. That's a lot more planning, whereas the Mavic series, they're just so much more usable in so many more situations, and having that focal length. So we'll see when the reviews come out, more of the reviews. But to me, that's super exciting.
So question for you then. I'm not a big drone guy, but Cassie really wants one for an upcoming trip, actually, to Great Britain. And I was looking at the Mavic. What?
No, I just heard a background noise of some sort. No, I heard something in the background.
Getting arrested and.
Oh no! Oh, turn your levels up just a scotch, Caleb. Me? I think you're just a little low. Yeah.
Let's see.
Just a little bit.
Whoops.
I'm just looking at the meters, and it's just a little low.
1, 2.
There we go. Yeah. I think that's good.
Check.
Yeah.
Check. Check. Maybe 2 more.
Yeah, I think we're getting a little. I don't think it's your mic, but there's a little bit of bleed or something going on, but it's not too bad.
It's always me.
No, it's not.
So sorry to interrupt, but that drone, can you fly that anywhere? Is it like a lot of their other stuff where you don't have to have licenses, or that one you gotta know your stuff?
That actually takes you up into so that takes you up into a whole another level.
Got it.
What I would suggest, if you're coming here to do stuff, get the Mini 3 Pro. Mm-hmm. Good camera on it.
Mini 3 Pro. This is the non-Mini.
Yeah,
that's what I have. I have the Mini 3
Pro.
Yeah. Got it.
Yeah.
So the Mini 3 Pro is a great drone. It's under 250 grams, which means that in Europe, so the UK is separate to Europe because of the UK doing it. Anyway, you can register with the CAA and just do the A1 and A3 thing, which will take you, and you need to register the drone to be able to use it in the UK. But
do you have Part 107 though? Do you have to do Part 107? Yeah, it's something different in Europe.
That's an American thing. So America's entirely different. The whole of the EU is one system. The UK system is exactly the same as the EU system. But of course, you have to do it all twice to get a UK certificate and an EU certificate. So I have the one up from that. But the A1 and A3, it's an online exam which takes 5 minutes, and you register it with the UK Civil Aviation Authority, which costs, I think, £10, and then you need to have insurance to be able to use it as well. But there's cover drone, people like that. I think I pay. You can do that on an ad hoc basis. So per day, short term, I think mine's an annual policy, and it costs, I don't know, £250 a year, something like that. But most countries, you're looking at 250 grams. If you can get below 250, so that the Mini 3 Pro, they do an extended battery, but if you get that, it takes it over the weight limit. generally speaking, if you're going to fly in towns, you're going to create attention and you need everything to be right. If you're out in the countryside, no one cares. No one's ever questioned me. Or we've had things where people have come and said, like a ranger in a national park, and you've been flying from someone's land who you maybe haven't that happened once accidentally. But you just go, okay, I'm really sorry, you bring it down, and that's the end of it. That's it's not like I'm calling the police, show me your license, show me your insurance, all that stuff. So I would say that drone is going to be the easiest one to go for. If you want to technically, follow the rules, I can send you everything, but it's not complicated. It'll take you 25, 30, maybe 30 minutes to sort the whole thing out, and then you're legal and safe, and you can actually fly that. The beauty is with the Mini 3 Pro, you can fly that over people, which to me is insane. But you could fly over a town centre, city centre. You've got to look on the aviation maps and make sure that there's apps for that to make sure you're not in a restricted zone. But you could fly over a city centre and over people who are not under your control, which is kind of mad. But that's what you can do at sub 250 grams in the UK and in the EU. So in terms of flexibility, even for that compromise in image quality now, I work with Jago a lot, and he's got the Inspire, which is a really big drone.
Beast.
And the Beast, but it's really fast. It does 70 miles an hour. It does beautiful imagery. It does RAW. It does ProRes. Really, really good. It's Micro Four Third sensor on that one, and the new ones come out of that as well, which is a full frame sensor, and it takes that whole thing up again.
Right.
But it's a very big, very noisy thing, and you're limited as to what you can do with that. I mean, his license allows us to do that, to fly over and involves, but you can't. It's not, that needs all pre-planning. It needs a lot of paperwork involved. Whereas those sub 250 gram drones, for what you lose in image quality, just the amount you can use them and the flexibility is amazing. So that's the one for travel for sure.
Yeah, but here in the States, even if you have that drone, if you want to use it for personal use, if it's under 250, you can do whatever you want, except for, of course, fly in airspace. If you're near an airport or something, you can play a little bit stupid. But as soon as you post a video that has any commercial component to it at all, in this country, you have to have Part 107. So if you and I upload a video to our YouTube channel, Caleb, that's commercial, because if you're monetizing in any way, even if it's just through affiliate sales, they consider that a commercial venture. And then Part 107, unfortunately, is not just an online course. In this country, you have to go into a center and take a test, and it's a long-ass test, which is why I haven't done it yet, because I still need to finish studying for it. And it's an aviation test, so you have to know a lot of things related to aviation, rightfully so, to a degree, but it is not just straightforward. That's for sure.
Well, you said, and this was the whole European mindset, was that they changed their minds in it, and they said, well, actually, if we're talking about safety, and safety is the key here,
right? It
doesn't make any difference whether you're doing this for commercial gain or whether you're doing this personally. If you're flying a drone, the level of danger is the same. So they've said it used to be a differentiation between whether you're using it commercially or recreationally, and there were different rules. But now it's just a case of, if you're using the drone, these are the weight limits, and these are what you can do with these weight limits and with these individual qualifications. And there's a whole, it's a very clear structure. But there's no commercial doesn't come into it anymore.
Got it. Makes sense.
Interesting.
All right. Well, it's moving forward, and I think those 3 lenses are very interesting in some of the videos I've seen, where I think the most interesting thing out of the new drone is the fact that it's repeatable. So you can set it up so that it's not only shooting 3 focal lengths, but it's sort of a repeatable, almost, air-based robotic system, so that you can basically say, here's my path, and you shoot it 3 different times during the day, and you're going to get the same exact shots, and then you can blend them or go between them and stuff. So I think that's interesting.
I think like day to night, you imagine doing that same path through and then blending it from a day shot to a night shot. I think that's really interesting. But what's stuff like doing seasonal, so you can repeat that shot in summer, in the autumn, in spring, and there's all kinds of cool stuff to do with that.
Yeah, I think it's great. Really, and for exciting. Outdoor content where you're showing things and you want to do things where There's just a lot of possibilities with that technology being integrated, even for narrative work, where you want to do shots that are aerial and you want to, change where people are and move people, and it's just repeatable. So you could do a scene with 1,000 Keanu Reeves in John Wick 5, and it would be easy to just sort of do these strange things. There's a lot of possibilities, obviously.
Yeah.
And speaking of technology, I don't know if you saw in Central Hall this company Stype, Stype, their virtual production company. They had a very, very polished presentation of virtual production. So they had a camera on a dolly on track, and then they would change that camera and just go handheld. So they pop it off of the sticks that were on the dolly, and they would just go handheld. And they had 4 or 5 different presenters showing different integrations of their virtual production. It was all green screen, but they were pushing a live key. They did have like a little insert volume, but it was really all about green screen. And their implementation of what they were doing in virtual production was amazing. Like they had, like a virtual pen, and they were drawing and moving through the space. And then there would be this 3-dimensional sort of, these circles, and then they would walk around them and step in front of and in back of those circles, and there was three-dimensionality to them. They had an iPad in a hand with trackers, and then a graphic would show up with the United States, and then they would use gestures, and the graphics would just go off onto the floor. And it was just so clean the way they did it. And then they also did a video game integration where they had a gaming company come in, and they would sit there with an iPad, and they would bring up all of these characters and these tables and these interactive elements, and it was all just there. And the depth component of it and how well it was integrated was, to me, the best I've seen. And then you go over to KinoFlow, and I love what they're doing with their mimic lights. And they had like 3 guys in suits sitting on a Ferris wheel, and it looked like, quite honestly, like dog poo. It just was like, it wasn't lit properly. It didn't sell virtual production. And so it's interesting to walk the floor and see how good and bad the implementations for virtual production were. It's definitely moving along, and it'll be interesting to see where that goes in the next few years, and then you build AI into some of it a year, 2 years from now, and the things that you're going to be able to do with virtual production, it will reach us soon enough. We will get to the point where we can do some of that stuff ourselves, I think. So it's interesting. Yeah.
Nice.
Yep. And speaking of, Ono says the Blackmagic Ultimate Mini, $495. It's only HD, but it does live keying with Ultimate. And that's kind of the piece that we need in the equation. And then for people to build essentially video games that allow us to have our virtual backgrounds as opposed to having to dive into Unreal Engine to do all that stuff. So I've had some conversations with people about that. I think we're going to move in that direction, meaning as an industry eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super cool.
Any thoughts on that? Any thoughts on virtual production from either of you or anybody in the chat that they saw at the show? I'd be interested to see that. Speaking of a church campus, which Brandon is bringing up, there are a lot of churches that are doing virtual production. They're making the investment into multi-camera setups with Unreal Engine, with giant LED volumes, which are essentially in the churches, and doing some pretty amazing things. So that's crazy. Yeah.
Crazy.
Crazy.
David says, bought the demo ergo rig from Cinema Devices at Cine Gear Atlanta. 20% discount, although I haven't used it. It's awesome. Nice. That's good to know, David. I'm totally getting one of those.
That's the rubber band.
You were so
that's the one.
That.
Yeah.
That's the big. You had the huge rig. Yeah.
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 Because I've been incorporating more and more handheld in like stuff even I do in here. It is amazing how maybe something a little larger than this, but even something like this, when you're doing this, I was talking to Ben at the show. Like I always like I get into it. I'm filming and I stick my head out, stick my gut out, and then hunch my shoulders, and then my mid back gets trashed.
That's what was happening to me at the show. I was walking around, and all of a sudden, I get these twinges in my lower back. But we were doing a lot of equipment-based stuff. And did they make an Ergo Rig Mini? Is that something you discussed with them?
I mean,
for
it's not
cameras
large.
Up to a certain. No.
It's not large at all, and you can side load it, and you don't have to mess with counterbalancing because it's just a rubber
easy
band.
rig, right?
Yeah, you just slide it on. You can put a camera on the shoulder if you want, or just use the little rubber band.
What's the lowest cost
minimal.
of entry?
That's what I like about it. $2,900.
Okay.
With that whole thing, you can get it without some parts and get it lower. So if you're just going to throw a camera on your shoulder and have it transfer to your hips, I think you're like down to like 25 or less. The boom arm they have looks super cool too. Interesting.
So what is it with the $2,900 rig? You okay? Oh,
my very janky.
Are you okay?
Set has just fallen apart. Yeah.
Oh no!
It sounds like it gave you an auditory like.
And
warning.
And we should put up like the warning thing. Do you need a minute, Ben, or do we come back?
Yeah, I'll be back with you in 1 second. Bear with me.
Oh my God!
We're doing it live, folks.
It happens. It's a Czech earthquake. This is what happens when Dad comes to town, and you have to create a makeshift space for Cameron Flaskett at 1:45 in the morning. So it's 12:45 a.m. where Ben is.
Yeah.
So it's happening. All right. Well, there you go.
Let's see. How can I do
That is one of the things that Ecamm Live needs to do. They need to give you an option when you have multiple guests come in to be able to mute and unmute specific guests, because it's sort of an all or nothing. No, I mean Ben can mute himself, but it would be nice from this side. Camera and caskets. Nice one, Brandon.
Here, let's see. How do I do this?
You have something to share? I'm ready.
Screen share. Oh, I gotta use Chrome.
What? Okay.
Never mind.
You don't want to. Oh,
I don't
he's
think
boycotting.
I have this mirrored. I have a different. Yeah, I'm using Safari.
Ben's back.
They have just under $2,000 for just the shoulder, the suit part, without the rubber band thing. So if you're gonna throw the camera on your shoulder, that's all you need.
Okay, but what is it that you're getting for the extra $1,000? That's really important.
You're getting that whole suspension system.
Oh, you don't get that.
The camera down low.
So what's
Correct.
the? Oh, okay. Okay.
That's $2,700. Let's see.
But that's what you want. That's what makes the system versatile.
That's what I want.
Right? Yeah.
Because
why would you just want the other thing? I know.
Yeah.
So
the 1 year. I think the first year I went to NAB, I had the shoulder mount, and I was filming Jem, and he was like, by the time you get the camera up here on me and I'm filming Jem, it's like it's absurdly tall. So almost everything I've got it.
No, I'm absurdly short, but yes, I understand what you're saying.
Camera and caskets, that's great.
Did you have a question, Ben?
I did. So with the rig, and you're using it like this, are you then going to end up like? Is it easy to move around to more in a straight on position? That was the thing I couldn't quite get my head around. Because that position you had, it looked really comfortable, but then I was trying to work out how, if you were walking around with it, if you were going to be walking like a crab.
Mm-hmm. No, so it has so much to do with how you monitor. So like my friend Matt Porwall, he shoots tons of doc, and it's a lot of verite. So he has a similar setup, but he's not using that Ergo rig, and he cradles it this way. But all of his monitoring is sitting, it's not here, it's here. So he's constantly like monitoring like this. So everything's straight on, but he's like side monitoring, if that makes sense.
That still sounds like a bad neck to me.
I mean, if it's like this, it would be, but I don't know. I saw his rig.
I kind of do a hybrid. It depends on what I'm filming, if I have to move around. But often I'll have the camera kind of off to one side, filming off to one side, like, so. And then I actually have the monitor facing straight on.
Ah, okay.
Having a mount like this where you can, customize the angle. So I'm actually facing straight. My shoulders are aligned. I'm not doing any weird twisty stuff, but the camera's off to one side. And for the kind of filming I mostly do, I'm not walking all over the place. I'm not doing a walk and talk, because that would be the terrible tool for the job. Most of it is, lean forward and then do like a kind of a parallaxing motion with my body, that kind of stuff.
Right.
And being able to just move quickly, reframe. So
you're not shooting
in that
people
regard,
a lot,
you can,
right?
Well, if
most
I'm
of the time,
like tests and stuff like that, but usually it's objects.
But and I can see how it worked for Verite.
I always film up.
Okay. Yeah,
I like kind of a low eye line.
Mm-hmm.
Like right now, the camera is probably right here.
If I get to go to Cine Gear, I'm sure they'll be there. So I'd really like to try it. I've never tried that system.
Yeah.
There was another similar system last year at Cine Gear, but it wasn't that band system. But it was kind of, it was an ergo rig over the head, and it was interesting, but it didn't have that same quick release flexibility that giant rubber band has, which I think is one of the most interesting things.
That's huge. And Brandon said, curious about getting eye level with that. So the beauty with that whole system is I had that thing like down real low in that photo, like near my hips.
Yeah.
But you simply grab it and pull up and it auto locks. And so you could go from like almost down by your knees, a shot like that, where you're like a really high, you're pointing the camera really high up, and then just pull it up and then go from this and just pull it up and go to this in like seconds and get a couple shots and then just pull a tab, drop it back down. And that's what's so great about it. It's super fast, really, really quick. And you're not having to like mess around with balancing the rig. So you could change lenses to a tiny prime from a huge zoom, and you don't have to refine the knob on the back and twist it and do all that stuff.
When it's on your shoulder, when it's on your shoulder, is it helping?
I was even just there's the pad here, just kind of resting it against the pad, not even on it. But you could go full on the pad, which is not touching your shoulder at all. Your shoulder is like separated by an air gap. So that shoulder pad they show isn't just resting on you. It's like a super solid, bolted down metal shelf. So the weight is all on your hips, and that's the beauty of it. Is nothing touches
so it's
your
not
body
when it goes
except for
on
the
your
hips
shoulder.
and chest.
So when it's on your shoulder, it's not pulling down on your shoulder as well.
Yeah.
To create
so there's
more
a metal
injury.
plate in the chest here that goes all the way down to pads and straps on your hip and on your your chest area. And that metal plate is bolted right here in your sternum, and there's metal bits that essentially it's a metal shelf just above your shoulder. So when you throw the camera on there, you're just the weight's at your hip. So even though you're shoulder mounted, it's not at all on your shoulder.
Okay.
It's really trippy when you throw a camera up there.
Yeah.
Like that huge.
Yeah.
That's how I started
camera
before I went slung.
Yeah.
Yeah, I threw it on my shoulder, and it felt no different than holding the camera like this.
Wow. Okay.
So pretty interesting.
Well, we got a thumbs down, and for 4 people being here, I'd be interested who gave us that, but I don't really care. But it's ridiculous. So what else did everybody see? We haven't gotten a lot of people chiming in the chat who went to NAB. So what were some of the things that you saw at the show that were really interesting that, are kind of on the to buy list or the drool factor and maybe not to buy? Be interesting to hear about that. I really thought that I know you mentioned it in your video, and I've been going back and forth with them for some time, but the company out of Norway, Kelvin, which is Riff Labs, they came to the workshop, the EPOS 300, the new 600. But what I really thought was interesting was, they came out with they're coming out with a new panel light. And what's interesting about it is, the MC Pro looks really cool, but it's a 5-watt little panel light. So it's got a lot of great features in it. And, I love a lot of what Aperture's doing. But this play light is RGB ACL. So it's red, green, blue, amber, cyan, lime, which is what you're finding in the Pro Light, in the RE Orbiter, the new 900C from Nanlux. In theory, the reflected light off of that color spectrum is broader, but they're doing it in a little small pocketable panel light. And it's also 18 watts. So it has a lot more output than you're going to get out of most of those smaller ones. I've got a Lupo one that's really powerful because it's got those big LEDs and it's just sort of very concentrated light. But I thought that was a pretty cool little panel light. And their industrial design is just ridiculous, the way they design the products. Yeah.
The sexiest built lights of anything I've ever seen. Everything. The control.
And competitive.
The balance, the control panel. Oh, yeah.
I mean, they're gonna start that light as a promotion at $179, which I think is more than fair for what that light is. If you look at the market, it's not going to have all the accessories you're going to get with an MC Pro, but that's a pretty cool looking light. Got no problems with what they're doing, and they design good apps too. Yeah. Ethan's chiming in.
Film? Oh, go ahead.
Tell me. No, go ahead. Tell me.
I was talking to them in their booth, and I was trying to look up the camera that it reminds me of. That light reminds me of, what is it? I'm almost there. There it was. Come on. The X Pro 3.
Oh, yeah.
Google the X Pro 3 in one tab and then look at the Kelvin lights.
Play. Yeah.
They're like identical. That vibe of like that like large metal, even color wise, it's very similar.
Oh,
so just like a tank.
Digital Bolex. Yep. Elle's still around doing a bunch of stuff. She was at the show, and she was the.
What's up, Ethan? Too.
Yeah. Ethan says the
Elle,
Ergo
nice.
rig is amazing.
I saw her. I did somewhere.
Yeah. Elle Schneider. Yeah, because she was sort of the. There was two people who ran Digital Bolex, and she was one of the two people. So,
I still got to get my hands on one of those.
I know they must still exist, right?
Let's see if there's any on.
Do they go for crazy money now?
eBay. They were. There's been one. I don't see it now, but there's one for a long time. It was like $6,000 or something insane.
Wow.
So I don't see any right now.
Yeah, Kodak never came out with that Super 8 camera too. That was
that was the one that was like the little hybrid thing.
Yeah, but you had to send it in, and then they would digitize it, which that was just a fail to begin with. They needed to have you shoot and you can process yourself. And the whole idea of putting something in a packet and mailing it through the United States Postal Service, that's just disaster waiting to happen right there. I'd rather get a speed pack from China is more reliable than USPS at the moment, just saying. It looks like Ethan uses the Ergo rig.
Yeah, no, he was saying that, so thanks, man. Appreciate the feedback.
Yeah, cool. Good. All right. What else do we have to talk about? Anybody? The EPOS. Yeah. The EPOS is more like that. But what else do we have? Did I see the lens mount that allows multiple lenses to be switched similar to a bullet? Yes. And that guy was around. He was at NAB 2019. In fact, I think he was at that party that the Chunginator does. He was at something 4 years ago. He's been around, and then when I watched the news shooter thing, I realized, yeah, for sure, he was going to come out with it, and then something happened in the world for about 2.5 years, and I guess he put the brakes on it. But it looks like they're going to kickstart that thing, and it's pretty cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I want it.
So I haven't delved into the article. I just saw the picture, and that's kind of cool. So what... Is it for multiple mounts? Is it just for one camera mount?
They're
it's
coming
being
out
built for
RFE, a couple others.
EF, I think.
Yeah, the idea is mount multiple primes and skip the zooms. Just rotate that bad boy.
You're definitely going to need that camera support system to go with that. That's going to be a lot of weight.
Yeah, right.
Perfect.
Yeah.
You know, what are your
It's
3
a great
lenses?
idea.
What are the 3 lenses? Okay, let's go ahead. We're all going to choose our 3 lenses that we're going to put on that sucker. I'm ready.
For full frame?
Yeah, and we'll say it's a Sony camera, so you also get clear image zoom if you need it. Interesting. So what are your 3 focal lengths?
I'd probably go...
And we're talking full frame.
Yeah, I personally would probably go 14 or 16.
Okay.
Ooh, 24 or 35. Probably 35 though. And a 50.
Got it.
Or 80 or 85.
Okay. All right.
But I'd also be tempted to maybe do 24, 35, 85.
Okay. Ben?
For full frame.
16, 35, 85.
I'm torn between 18 or 21. I'm going to a 40, and then I'm doing 85. Those are my 3.
Well, of course, if you're going manual, then yeah, you could really go wild there.
But I think 21. I think probably 21, 40, and 85.
Yeah.
But that 18 full frame, it's good to have. Which is why, Ben, you're thinking 16. I think. Not a lot of 17 millimeter lenses out there, Ono, but I'll go for it. Focal length wise.
14's kind of, it's wide, but it's just slightly too much for a lot of things. It's just, I don't know. 16's like
it is safe. Nice, good, safe. Yeah.
It is.
I mean, it's,
if I was going
it's
crop
out there.
Yeah, if it was crop, I'd go 18, 27, probably 50 or 55 would be my choice. But those would be my 3 choices for crop. But who knows? All right, there we go. Turret. Let's check it out. Go to News Shooter.
Cool.
9 Dot Solutions. So if you've never heard of that company, so it's 9 Dot Solutions, Danish developer. I think all the stuff's built in Asia. Really, really great design. It's a playground for all of the little kit, 15 mil rods and clamps, and I've got a couple of them that I use to build the little portable book light that I had in the workshop.
Right.
And
do you have a YouTube video on that?
Just like a 60-second short, so it's not very much.
You should,
but I should do more.
Dude.
I really should.
Yeah,
I should. I really like 9 Dot Solutions. You can get it on B&H. You can get it on Amazon. Just look up 9 Solutions, and you'll see what they have. And it's not 3 or 4 things. I mean, they've got a catalog of dozens and dozens of different solutions for rigging. And I love the way the stuff looks, but I really like the way he thinks as a designer. I think he's got some really great stuff. So that's one.
One other hack.
Yeah.
I met the guys at Film Tools. But if you ever are looking for something you don't know what it's called, go to Film Tools and jump on their chat. Their online chat is incredible. It's like grips on the other end who know their stuff. So now I've 3 times had in my head a really specific thing. Can't find it to save my life. Go there, and I'm looking for a baby pin that terminates into a 90 junior with a whatever offset, and a lollipop. And then they're like, give me a second. And then they're like, here's 3 choices.
Really?
I've never heard of and seen it in my entire life. Yeah.
Wow.
Amazing chat. So definitely a great tool for random thought as you were talking about 9 solutions.
Very cool.
And speaking of film tools, I mean, not everybody's based in LA, but if you take a trip to LA, there's obviously a lot of companies based there in this industry, but do yourself a favor. It's not like going to B&H where you're seeing the conveyor belts and, it's Willy Wonka, but go to Film Tools because they have buckets and buckets and buckets and buckets of tool, like all the little things that you can't find anywhere else or that you have to search online for. And that's the candy store. I mean, that's the place. So go to Film Tools. It's underwhelming in terms of like, oh, this is it. But then once you start digging into the store and you see all of the shelves of all the stuff, it's love. It's love.
It's cool.
David, great last question. I'm gonna go with this one because we're at time right now. Overall, what is your opinion on NAB this year and thoughts for the future ones? I'm gonna go to Ben first.
I don't care about the show. I only like it to come and hang out with people. You can see the stuff. I guess in terms of in terms of the show, in terms of product stuff, I think everything this year, there was nothing that felt like it was, other than the AI stuff, I guess. But it was all evolution this year. There was no like huge thing that you went, oh, this is major, it's going to change the world or anything. It was all, lots of cool stuff, but all just, things getting progressively better, which is great. And for future shows, I don't know. I think it's going to go, we've talked about this before, but it seems to not be the show of massive releases, massive new stuff. It does seem to be that. But NAB is not about all that stuff. NAB is about going to hang out with people that you only get to see once a year or, if you're lucky. And that's what it's about. It was just a joy hanging out with you two after so much time. It was wonderful, and I'm already looking forward to doing that again next year. And
likewise,
that's what it's always been about for me. It's been about people, contacts, networking, and going to seminars, listening to people cleverer than me talking about stuff. That's what those things are for. You go online and see the stuff about new kit. Yeah, it's great to go and touch it and play around, but that's not what it's for. For me.
Well said. Caleb, thoughts on NAB?
Same, pretty much. I do enjoy it for when you need something, like an LTO tape drive. It's nice to go to one place where there's all the options and you can actually check them out and talk to someone. But mainly, hanging out with people. It's a good time.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. I mean, look, I think gone are the days. There'll be a surprise at some point or another where we get another movie or something that kind of shakes up the industry. It's almost a new product category. I think those days are pretty much behind us for the most part. And we consume content differently than we did even 10 years ago. Cine Gear, to me, is my favorite show within this industry because it's so incredibly focused on what we all do. And I love it when it's on the Paramount lot. I hope I can go in June. I'm not sure if I'm going. But NAB is contained, and it's a great place because you go to one location. Being in LA is dispersed. And I'm the same. It's about seeing friends. It's about learning new things and also making new contacts. I mean, it seems to be every single time I go to that show, I wind up meeting people who are smarter than me, who are doing things that are more interesting than me, and it creatively kind of gets me going in terms of what I want to maybe do, going forward. So I love that. And of course, seeing you guys, which is the best part. Well, there you have it, kids. We'll do another Cameron Flask. I don't know if we're doing the first. We probably won't do the first week of May because it doesn't really make a lot of sense. We have a challenge for May 10th. If you go to the channel under the live shows area, you can check that out. That's not Cameron Flask specific, but it's what I call the boiled egg challenge. That's what people wound up going with. Ben and Caleb, if you have time, feel free to partake. That's on May 10th. And other than that, great to see you again in person. Hopefully it's not going to be a whole year for us all. And appreciate it. Yeah, we'll figure this out. So thanks everybody.
So May 10th.
For supporting the channel. May 10th is the challenge. And it's a vertical video, like 60 seconds, with a, you know, you can shoot it on whatever you want, but it's food related. And I have an idea of what I'm going to do. Hopefully I'll have time to do it. And thanks everybody in the chat. All the best, everybody.
Thanks for hanging out, guys.
All right. Take care, everybody. All the best. See ya.
No.
See you.
Bye.